Let's go ahead and get started. I am Mark Bianchi. I'm the president and owner of VisitClicks. We are a digital marketing agency. And also on the call, my co-host, Lanissa Brantley.
Hello, hello. I'm Lanissa Brantley, founder of LB Solutions, and I work specifically with specialty healthcare practices that are looking to grow their physician referral networks. And one of the reasons why Mark and I wanted to do this was because we both recently have been getting a lot of questions about traffic is down in general, and whether that's web traffic, social traffic, or just traffic in the door. So our goal for this webinar is to talk about what's changed, what's what's new, why things have changed, and then what we can do to help combat some of those changes. And the goal is for you guys to have a few little pearls that you can take home to your practice and implement immediately. And we also want this to be a conversation, not a presentation. So super excited to see you all in the chat. So feel free to put your questions in there. We've got a couple of people in the chat helping us keep track of all of that. So we will get to all of your questions. If we don't get to them immediately, just know that we will get to you and get to your questions. So thanks. So
Great.
excited to be here.
Same. So what we're talking about is fueling your practice growth engine. Very important to think about that. We're adding fuel to what you're already doing. So we're already running around the track, and now it's time to put some extra fuel in that growth engine, and let's really get going into next year. So let's talk about this first slide. This is pretty interesting, Lanissa. You found this one. Can you explain this?
83% of patients look you up online before they book. And we used to assume that patients of a certain demographic over the age of 50, over the age of 70, did not look online. But what we now know, and what the data is now telling us, is that every single age group spends time online before they book an appointment with you. And this also includes referred patients. Referring doctors are creeping you online before they refer patients to you. And referred patients are also checking out your website either to schedule an appointment or just to make sure, or checking your online reviews just to make sure that they're going to a place that they feel comfortable going. So what patients see online is important. And you've heard that before. That's not new information, but even now more so than ever with AI, and we'll be talking about some of those things.
And it makes perfect sense. I mean, I wouldn't go to a restaurant without checking out the restaurant first. I wouldn't hire a babysitter without checking out her social media presence first. So it makes perfect sense that 83% of patients are looking up healthcare physicians before they book with them. That makes perfect sense. And this stat right here really blows my mind. So here's where most of the people are coming through and converting into patients. It's either through the internet or through referrals. That's almost 90% are coming through one of those two sources. Lanissa, do you have more to talk about on that?
Yeah, so this information came to us from our friends at Optical. So thanks to them for doing all the work and putting all the study and information together. But the highest level of patient conversions by marketing channel is either internet or direct referral. And so things that we used to rely on a lot more, like radio or direct mail or those types of things, they are not seeing the success that they used to see, which some of us are feeling that and experiencing that. But, we are still seeing results from internet and direct referral. So,
Perfect. What do patients expect today? So you think about, maybe when you started to get into the medical practice fields and the way things were done 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's a lot different than the way things are done today and what patients expect today. First of all, they expect that easy access to care. So they want to be able to easily communicate with you, be able to schedule with you, be able to be in constant contact with you, provide you the information you need, and you provide them the information they need in a very easy way. They also do like the clear communication now, so it's really important that you are communicating with your patients. And most importantly, they need a provider they can trust. So there's a lot of different ways too that they can look around and try to figure out if they can trust you as a provider through reviews, of course, Google reviews and various reviews from WebMD and various other sources. They can watch videos of you, and if you convey a sense of trust, that's really helpful. You can write blog posts on your website, which showcases that you really know what you're talking about. So that's a good way. And also, of course, getting recommendations from other healthcare providers, very important part of whether or not someone can trust you, of course.
Yeah. And I would say that some of this sounds like common sense and some of this sounds like, well, we all know this and we're already doing this. But here's the thing that we find, and I'll just share a personal anecdote from me personally this week. My daughter's getting ready to get her wisdom teeth out. We were going to the eval, and I get this nice little text here. Click this link to fill out your paperwork. Sounds great, easy peasy, right? I try to go fill out all the paperwork. I go through the whole process, hit the submit button, and it doesn't work. Some of you may have experienced that this morning when you were trying to enroll for this webinar because we had a national internet outage. And so I kept trying and trying, spent about 40 minutes because it would say this field is required, but it wasn't required. And spent about 40 minutes, got frustrated, gave up, called the office and said, look, this isn't working. And they said, well, that's fine. Just go online to our website and you can try that and see if that works. That did not give me a lot of confidence. And they said, or you can always just come in and fill out the paperwork in person, which of course is exactly what I did because I knew that that was a no fail guarantee. So sometimes we think that we're using this easy communication and this access to care, and our technology, our platforms aren't working. And honestly, it would have been just better to do it the old school way from a patient perspective. So I would just caution all of you to just make sure your platforms are working, make sure that you're actually doing this. Sit with your teams, listen to what they say, because this sounds common sense, but in a lot of practices, it's not practically playing out in a way that our patients are seeing it, experience it, or receiving it.
Thank you. All right, so we are at a crossroads right now, and think about it. In the history of the internet, we've been at crossroads on several occasions. The first crossroad, of course, was the creation of the internet when we all started using it. Hard to believe now, 30 years ago, for me anyway. I mean, I've been on the internet since the mid 90s. And the very first thing that you worried about back in the 90s was it was real simple. You know, hey, there's this thing called the internet. How am I going to use it? And really, it was meant for MySpace, right? The most important thing was, does my MySpace page load? And will Tom be friends with me? So that's where we were 30 years ago. And then the second iteration of the crossroads that we came to was probably right around 2008. And that is when the social media came on. So Facebook was really starting to launch in a heavy way right around 2008. That's also when the smartphone came out, and the smartphone kind of changed everything on the internet as well as social media. So then practices were thinking, okay, well, now I've got to have a social media page on top of the website that I created maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And now I'm going to also have to make sure that everything is working on the smartphone and it looks good on the smartphone and people can reach me there. And now the crossroad is AI. I mean, think about it. Everybody's talking about AI, especially this year. All of a sudden, it came out of nowhere, right? And a lot of people weren't even thinking about AI until the last year or so. So how has AI changed what we're doing on the internet and what we're doing with our practices? And that's what we're going to talk about now. So building trust in the digital era. We are in the digital era. We've been in the digital era now for many, many years. And the way that we built trust up till today, let's say. So what we would do is we would create some branding messages. We would create some ads on the internet, and we would say sometimes crazy, corny things like this, like eye-popping deals you have to see to believe, right? And so you saw something like that. It made you click on it. It made you go off to the website, maybe get some more information. Also, people would look at whether or not someone seemed legitimate by how good their branding was, how good their marketing was. So if you had a really polished and really nice looking branding package, people thought you were definitely very legit. And then also, you know, a lot of times we were just doing the same old things day after day, week after week, year after year. And all of this, the eye-popping ads and the very slick marketing and the good branding kind of became same old song and dance. It became white noise at some point. Now what's happening because of AI and because of all the changes in the internet today, what people are looking for is expertise, authenticity, and transparency. So it's real important that they kind of get a sense of who you are, who your practice is. Are you authentic? Do you know what you're talking about? Are you educating and explaining to people in a way that they can understand, not just promoting your business? So again, the eye-popping deals you have to see to believe is promoting your business, but tell me why I should come to you and what is it about your practice that makes you an authority and makes me trust you more? And then also, very important, video, especially since the iPhone, but even more now today, video is building trust and familiarity more than anything else. So if you can create very simple videos with your smartphone, you don't have to do a lot of editing. Just shoot a record message, send something up to the internet, put it on YouTube, put it on social, and that just shows that you have some trust and familiarity with your audience.
Random fun fact. Mark used to be a DJ. I don't know if you can tell from his DJ voice, and he is a musician. So if you're paying close attention, you might notice a few musical references in the slides.
Yeah. I was a DJ back in the 90s when the internet came on. So that's how old I am. And yeah, in a band and a local cover band and whatnot. So I have a lot of kind of corny song references throughout the whole presentation here. See if you can spot them. All right. So here is a good example of someone who is showing that they have authority in the area of eye care. This is Dr. Joseph Allen. Maybe Joseph Allen's on the call. That would be great. Speak up if you are. But Doctor's Eye Health. So what Joseph Allen does is he creates these posts on social, and he does some great YouTube videos as well. But he just talks about things that people are interested in. In this case, it's something that really kind of freaks everybody out if you're in the eye care world. Demodex mites. And so, you want to get a lot of reaction to something, post something like this that kind of freaks people out. And in this case, he's talking about what are Demodex mites and, how are they in my eye? How can I get rid of them? But something like that just shows that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to Demodex. And he does this every day, all day long. It really shows himself as an authority in this area. And it's easy to do. He looked up the information, kind of looks like he used ChatGPT to write this, which is perfectly acceptable. But he basically went out to ChatGPT and said, hey, help me write something like this, and easily get something up onto social. Another good example is Dr. Emily Taylor. Dr. Emily Taylor, AKA Dr. Earwax. Could you imagine that being your nickname? Hi, I'm Dr. Earwax. But Dr. Earwax, what she does is she actually posts videos and will also react to videos of earwax coming out of people's ears. Kind of disgusting, but look at the bottom. She got 148 reactions to this video. She got a couple of comments, a couple of shares. And again, she does this on a fairly regular basis, kind of becoming an internet star just by posting these videos on social media. Proving once again that she's the expert when it comes to earwax. Search has also changed.
Better her than me, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking, no, thank you. But let her do it. Dr. Taylor, you're doing a great job. I really don't even like watching the videos, to be honest with you. Some of them are a little scary, but you can't look away. It's like a Dr. Pimple Popper. It's one of those things you can't look away, but it is what it is. So, search engine optimization, a very important part of what we've been doing on the internet for many, many years now. And up until now, search engine optimization meant, hey, we're going to do everything we can to get you to page 1 of a Google search in the organic listings. And who can remember back in the day when there were no ads on Google and there was no map on Google? And the first thing you saw was whoever was doing the best search engine optimization was at the very top of that list. Well, now what's happened is Google is pushing things farther and farther down. The organic listings are underneath the maps, which are underneath the ads, which are now underneath an AI answer. So if you Google about anything on the internet today, the first thing you're going to see is an AI answer. So those 10 blue links that are on page 1, and you've probably heard from search engine optimization experts who say, hey, I can get you to page 1 of Google. That's great, but are you going to get me to the top of Google? Because that's really where it matters. So the 10 blue links are less important these days. Keyword stuffing was also a great way to get you to those top 10 blue links. So you would make sure that you had all the right keywords on your pages of your website. You made sure you mentioned all the locations where you provided services. But now Google kind of looks at that as just keyword stuffing. It's like, great, you put the word, ophthalmology on your website 148 times, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily the expert we're looking for to find that AI answer that we're going to give. And then money for nothing. A little DJ reference there. So money for nothing. What that means is a lot of times you would pay for backlinks to your website. So you would pay someone maybe $5, $10, $20 to link to your website. So Google would take a look at that and say, oh, look, you've got 148 links coming from all these authoritative sources. They think you're an expert. I guess you must be an expert. So we're going to raise you in the Google search. That doesn't work anymore as well as it used to. So now what people are looking for on the internet are those instant answers. Think about zero-click searches. So when you get that answer on Google and other search engines, that's that AI-generated answer, or in ChatGPT or Grok or elsewhere, that's a zero-click search. I got all the information I needed without having to click on anything. Now, that's a good thing because if you're listed as one of the authorities, Google will actually list on the side the authoritative sources that they use to come up with that instant answer. That gives you instant credibility. And from there, people can click on that and jump off to your website. So it's more also than just links to websites. There's a whole lot more ways now to get people to your website, including images, including various other ways. Social media, of course, multi-platforms. So we need to make sure that you're answering all the right questions on all these platforms. So we have some very simple SEO steps for you. These are things that you can take away today. Screenshot this if you like. This is something that if you have someone in the office who can just do some of these things, it's definitely going to help you with search engine optimization for 2026. So first of all, NAP. What does that stand for? Very simple: name, address, phone number. And what we're talking about here is citation websites or these online directories. And in these online directories like Google, Facebook's considered a directory, WebMD, all those types of places. Yelp is another good one. There's probably about 60 or 70 major ones out there on the internet. If you make sure that your name, address, phone number, link to your website, hours, all of that kind of stuff matches across all those websites exactly, because that's important. If they match exactly across all those websites, then Google will consider you a better source and move you higher up. Also, have separate pages for each of the services that you provide and each of the top cities that you serve. Because if you are in Columbus, Ohio, let's say, and you just talk about the fact that you serve the Columbus, Ohio area, that's great. But it's better if you have a page about one of the suburbs like Dublin, Ohio. So if you have a page about Dublin, Ohio, and you provide services in Dublin, which is near Columbus, and you provide all the different services you provide in Dublin, when someone's in Dublin and they're searching for something like ophthalmologist near me or audiologist near me, you have a higher likelihood of showing up. Answer common patient questions or frequently asked questions. Be the local authority. So you'll want to make sure that any question that someone will ask about the services you provide, you have the answer somewhere on your website. And the reason for that, again, Google is looking for answering questions. You think about what Google's number one goal is, other than making money, it's answering questions. They want to make sure they deliver the best answer to any question anyone has on the internet. And think about 2 years ago, they didn't have any competition. Now they have all kinds of competition with all the AI engines out there. So answer all those questions somewhere on your website and put it in a question form too. You could ask a question like, how do I get rid of earwax? Have the answer right there on the best way someone can get rid of earwax. Number 4, update websites at least once a month with useful blog posts. So you're the authority. You already know everything, hopefully, that you need to know about the industry that you're in. Write a blog post and use AI to do it too. You can use AI to create some really good blog post that can be recognized by Google, making you an authority. And then showcase some reviews. If you're not already putting reviews on your website, very simple to do, especially if you use something like WordPress to host your website. You can get a plugin that will go out to Google and various other review sites and post your reviews directly to your website without you having to do anything. And also testimonials. Why not talk to current patients and say, hey, you know what? Can we go ahead and use you as a case study on our website? I mean, that is huge for authority when someone is saying in their own words how you were able to help them, and people can put a picture with that. You see the face and you can see exactly what they had to say. How is AI changing what patients see and who they choose? So it used to be that only humans were doing all the work for you. And that was good. If you had a big staff of people that could get all these things done. Chat bots, if you had a chat bot on your website, that's a good first step at putting some AI into your organization. However, chat bots a lot of times are very scripted. And if someone asks a question and you didn't already script the answer into the chat bot, it has a hard time coming up with the answer. It's also good to have a chat bot that can link directly to a human being in the office during regular hours. So that way someone can say, I'd like to talk to a human. And boom, they're talking to a human. Also, science fiction. So AI for a long time was science fiction. You think about the Terminator, it's kind of a scary way of looking at AI, but AI was science fiction for the longest time. And if you were in a small practice with maybe 10, 15 people in the practice, you thought there's no way I'm ever going to be able to afford to use AI. There's no reason for me to have to use AI. And it was really purely science fiction. Well, now everybody is doing AI. If you are anything, pretty much anywhere, and you think of all the sources that are using AI to get you information, uh, and if you're not doing it right now, I feel like you're kind of missing the train or missing the boat. And also, how many times have you heard from people who come in and say, I looked something up on WebMD, and you're like, oh no, Dr. WebMD, here we go again. And it's funny, I used to live in Indianapolis, and WebMD has a building there, and my daughter looks everything up on WebMD, and of course always comes back with worst case scenario. And we were driving by the WebMD building one day, and I said, look, you can walk right in and ask them right now, and they'll probably give you the same answer. She didn't appreciate that, but anyway, it was fun. But now you also have a lot of other doctors out there you're competing with that Dr. WebMD is competing with. You got ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, so many other places that people are getting all this information from. So it's important that we understand what they're saying to the patients, and that we're able to come up with hopefully better answers than these AI engines. And also with AI, you can work smarter, not harder. So rather than hiring 10 new people to help you with all these things that you need to do, or really kind of putting everything on one person and they've got to work 60 hours a week, this lightens the load on them a little bit, and AI makes their job and their life a little bit easier. So here's some sample ChatGPT prompts. If you're already using ChatGPT, you know what this is. And other search engines or other LLMs or these AI bots use something very similar. So hopefully this is something you can take away from today that you can help out. Feel free to take a screenshot of this if you like, or again, the recording will be made available later. But if you want to write a blog, you can really just put together a sample ChatGPT or a ChatGPT prompt that can help you write that blog. And you can save it too. You can save it as one of your GPTs, or prompts as they're called. So you can write a blog like this. You can say, hey, you are a role, let's say a marketing professional at practice name. I need you to write a blog post intended for patients, website visitors, maybe other physicians in our brand voice. And then you describe the brand voice. Are you knowledgeable? Are you professional? Are you concise? And then you can put some rules in there too, like do not include patient-specific medical or financial details. Make sure you're very HIPAA compliant in what you're writing. Avoid making promises about outcomes or stating this treatment will definitely cure something. And then adhere to the branding. Make sure you put your brand tagline in there, some key phrases. And then you can say, here's specifically what this is. The content request is, a blog post on, we talked a little bit earlier about earwax, for example. It could really be about anything, but that's where you can tell it what you want. ChatGPT will then write that blog, and you don't have to stay with what it wrote. You can say, hey, this looks great, but it's too long. Or, hey, this looks great, but you really kind of went deep into the weeds on all the technical things that people don't need to know about. You can actually have ChatGPT rewrite the blog over and over again until you're happy with it. Same thing with a very simple respond to review prompt that you can create. So you're writing a response to Google review for, again, fill in your practice name. Don't talk about any specific treatment. If the review is 4+, you can even tell it this. If the review's a good review, here's what I want you to say. And it will come up with a creative way of saying this for you. If the review's negative, and very important to always respond to negative reviews professionally, then hey, show empathy. Don't accept any responsibility or apologize. The lawyers love that one, by the way. And then give them the opportunity to call and talk to you over the phone about the situation. Even name the person who to call in the office and your phone number. When someone looks at that, that's really important because a lot of times you get a bad review. You're not really sure why. And the person that's reading the review, maybe a potential patient in the future, if you show them that you are addressing the concern and you have some empathy and you're professional about it, a lot of times the person's going to look at that review and say, well, they got 148 positive reviews and they have 2 negative reviews. Maybe there's something wrong with the people who left the negative reviews because they have so many great positive reviews, and look how they responded to the review. So simple to have ChatGPT or other AI platforms create these for you. Any questions so far? Feel free to put something into the chat if you have questions up until this point. And Lanissa can let me know if there's any questions because I can't see that screen right now. So let's also talk about seamless digital experience. So it used to be that, hey, let's just do the bare necessities. We need a website. Okay, check. We got a website. We are supposed to be doing something with Google My Business or Google Business Profile, as it's called today. Check. Got that done. And we've got a social media. We've got a Facebook page with 17 people that like it. And we update something once every couple of months. Hey, but you know what? It's there. we're told we have to have one, we have one. Also, a lot of times you relied on people to call you, call for an appointment or call to reschedule your appointment. And then some poor person at the front desk has to field all those calls. And then on the patient side, a lot of times what they had to do was they had to wait for a response from someone in the office, either a phone call or an email. So that's the way that the patient experience has been for a lot of people up through today. Well, now what we need to do is provide instant access to people. So, instant access either through the website, they can do maybe online scheduling is a really good thing. They can get SMS or text messages to let them know about their appointments. They can add it to their calendar. All these things are really important to people now. Think about all the different platforms and all different ways you can do that. And an interesting stat here, 70% of patients say that that kind of communication and that kind of convenience is actually one of the most important things to them when they're looking at a new healthcare provider. So keep that in mind. You've got to be doing these things if you want to get some new patients. So some tools for some daily tasks. You could leverage AI to, again, draft emails, blogs, social posts. Think about all the different things it can do for you. You can send appointment reminders automatically, which is a great thing. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I had a appointment with a dog groomer. Not that we're talking to dog groomers today, but made the appointment over the phone and completely forgot about it. And then they call me, of course, 15 minutes after the appointment. Had they been sending me appointment reminders, it would have helped me remember that I needed to take my dog in to get a haircut. And then chatbots are good for the most common questions. If you want to put a chatbot on your website, if you currently have one, that's great. Just make sure most of the common questions are answered. Better yet, get a chatbot that will link to someone in the office who can answer a question almost immediately if the chatbot cannot respond very well. Google Business Profile. Used to be called Google My Business. They changed it, a couple of years ago now. It's now called Google Business Profile. And you've got to think about it as the front door to your practice, because this is where most people get their information about your business first, is Google Business Profile. And it used to be that, again, kind of doing the bare minimum. Okay, I've got my name, address, phone number on Google Business Profile. I'm just going to let it be. I don't need to do anything else with it. I uploaded I think it's like 3 or 5 pictures that they ask when you first set up the profile. I did that and I'm good. They've got a map to my location. People can get directions. That's great. They can call me. They can link off to my website. I'm done. Well, now knowing that 64% of people look at this first, there's so many other things we can be doing with Google Business Profile, and that includes photos. Anytime something interesting, fun, maybe a birthday in the office, something like that, when you take the picture, a lot of times you want to send it to Facebook and Instagram and social media, but why not also go ahead and send that off to Google Business Profile? Because Google rewards businesses that will keep their Google Business Profile current and are doing all these things. So try to have a lot of photos and or videos on Google Business Profile. Also an important thing, I don't know how often you set up your Google Business Profile, you'll think it's all good. Well, maybe you didn't put the right primary category in there. Maybe you chose optometrist when you're an ophthalmologist. So make sure your primary category is in there, your secondary categories are correct. You can also create posts. So if you've got something special going on, you can put a little post in there about it. You can also educate people through these posts. So again, it shows that you really know what you're talking about and you're the authority because you have Google Business Profile posts about those topics. And then most importantly, reviews. So a lot of people are going to leave a review on Google Business Profile. And that's something you can ask for too. There's nothing wrong with asking people to leave you a review. Maybe you have a little sign by the checkout with a QR code. Hey, did you appreciate your experience today? Leave us a review. You can hand out cards and ask for Google reviews. The only thing you can't do is you can't say, I'm going to reward you for leaving a review, or I'm asking for a positive review, because Google wants to make sure that people are leaving just real reviews. But also make sure you respond to those reviews too, both positive and negative. So again, just a few things that you can be doing on your GBP. You can upload fresh photos regularly. You can post updates about services and events. Make sure you get those reviews, reply to every review. And also, this is one that's often overlooked. Verify your hours, including your holiday hours. If your hours are incorrect, correct them, of course, and make sure that you include holiday hours. So we've got Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas, New Year's Day. Right now, I would bet it says you're open on those days. If you go in and make sure it says you're closed on those days, again, Google looks at that and says, "Oh, this is a business that's really engaged, and they're actually taking the time to make sure that their hours are correct." So they appreciate that. And here's a good example over here. Eye Surgeons of Indiana, they actually work with my agency. And when we started with them, their Google business profile had 11 reviews and I think something like a 3.7 average. And that was only because they had like 2 bad reviews out of the 11 reviews. Now they have over 3,000 Google reviews, a 4.9. They have 147 photos. They have 12 posts right now under their post. And that made a huge difference in their business. I mean, you go from a 3.7 with 11 reviews to 3,000 reviews and a 4.9. And I remember when they got to 100 reviews, they were very excited because they thought, oh, great, we have 100 reviews now. And now, of course, they realized that that was still just kind of the beginning of where they were going to end up.
Yeah. And I would say, what is the simplest way to get more reviews from your practice?
I just asked.
Ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that we often overlook. We think we know we need more reviews. We know we need more reviews, but just get into a habit of asking patients at checkout. Um, you know, like there's a lot of ways that we can talk strategically about how to enhance that process, but just ask.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. Ask
Yep.
and you shall receive.
Yep.
So speaking of which, online reviews, they are the word of mouth today, along with referrals. So this is kind of like the digital referral for you. Back in the day, reviews were helpful, but no one really cared a whole lot about them from the practice standpoint. You also wanted to see no evil, hear no evil. If you didn't ask for reviews, you didn't have to worry about getting a bad review, right?
Right.
And you didn't have to worry about seeing the bad review, and then it ruins your day because someone said someone rude and terrible to you. So now, of course, patients trust reviews just like referrals. Having those strong
Blows my mind. So
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
You
yeah.
trust a review from a stranger, over just, I don't know. It's so crazy, but it's truth. That's truth. The
Yeah.
data suggests that that's truth. So
I seriously don't go anywhere without checking reviews first. I mean, just about everything I do, I look at reviews. And then, those professional, authentic, and empathetic replies show that you care. So online reviews and patient reviews and physician referrals, very important as well, of course.
yeah, absolutely. So when we think about the online reviews, that's great. Like, how can we build more traffic to our site? But also, we want to get these patients not just to our site, but then the next step is in the door. And so when we think about all of the noise that we see here in the world, in the market, and on the internet, and all of things that we're exposed to every day, 84% of buyers now kick off their buying process with a referral, and 92% of those buyers trust referrals from people that they know. So if you think about that from a patient perspective, their physician, who they know, who they've been to for years, who they trust, those referrals are taken very seriously. And I'm going to switch my share screen here. So perfect. And so that is where the value of physician referrals comes in to our practice. So why even build a physician referral network? First of all, we've been talking about all of the digital things, and it's important to have all of those things. But the great news about a physician referral network is it's actually not reliant on the SEO or algorithm changes or anytime the AI gods decide to change something and it tanks your web traffic. Physician referral networks are not dependent upon that. They're dependent upon referrals, long-term referral relationships. So it's a long-term growth pathway with a stream of steady referrals. And it's also a way to hedge your bets against some of the ups and downs in the market. So a way to even think about recession proofing your practice. And so what does that look like? A lot of times we think that we need a ton of people in our market referring a ton of patients to make a big difference. But if you think about just 5 new referring doctors sending 5 patients a month, what does that mean for your practice? That's up to 25 patients a month. And so the potential financial impact of that, if you think of those same 25 patients, 5 doctors sending 5 patients a month, that's 25 patients. And most of you on this call actually are in the eye and ear space. So that would be double that. So 50 eyes, 50 ears. and then the average revenue per unit. And so we took the unit or procedure price for hearing aids, LASIK, or upgraded cataract procedures to come up with this number. And that's a potential additional monthly revenue of $125,000 a month, or $1.5 million per year. So it doesn't take that many referring doctors sending that many patients per month to make a really big impact in your schedule or in your bottom line. So, what is different today about referral networks than in the past? The good news is that physician referral networks, what worked 30 years ago, the most advantageous strategies that worked 30 years ago, those still work today. But there are some changes. And so let's talk about that. What was different yesterday than today? Yesterday, it was a lot easier to get away with just brochure and literature drops. You're just going to go in, you're going to drop off some brochures with the front, you're going to turn around and walk out. Or you could use an inexperienced team member, and they've got a couple of hours of downtime in the clinic, and so they could go out and call on a couple of doctors. In the past, only speaking with the gatekeeper or the referral coordinator could get you some referrals, or just talking about features and benefits, going in and saying, hey, we offer these services. We'd love to see some patients. Thanks. So those were the things that it was easier to get away with yesterday. But today that's changed, again, because we have all this noise in the marketplace that are competing for our time and attention. So the strategic advantages for success today is making that total office call. So not just calling on the gatekeeper or the referral coordinator, but talking to all the decision makers, the physicians, the nurses, the practice managers. Who are those decision makers? And talking to everybody in the practice that could potentially influence or encourage a patient to come to see you. Identify an ideal team member to visit referring doctors. So someone who has the grit and the determination and the people skills in the organization to actually really be able to do this, not somebody who's just got a couple of hours of free time. And then really equipping them with the team training for knowing where to go, knowing who to talk to, knowing what to say, knowing how to say it, and then also messaging that matters to the provider. The features and benefits, features and benefits, features and benefits of yesterday no longer work today. Providers want to know what that means for their patient and what that means for their practice. And so an example of that is a lot of times we'll get this new technology, right? And we're going in and we're super excited about this new laser, this new hearing aid, whatever it is, this new treatment. And we'll go in and say, okay, we have this great laser. And, we'll talk about things like microns, or we'll talk about things like cylinder and all of these things that are really meaningless for the referring doctor. And you'll see their eyes start to glaze over. But when you talk about it in terms of this is better for the patient, and this is how the patient gets their life back. It decreases inflammation. It increases healing time. It gives them much clearer ability to hear, and decreases background noise and all of these different things. That is when you can see the doctor's ears start to perk up. That is what makes the difference in the messaging that matters to the provider. What we talk about all the time in our courses is WIIFM. What's in it for me? So kudos and extra points to the person in the chat who can put what that means. I was going to ask you, Mark, if you have a guess, but he got the answer. He figured out the answer in our
dress rehearsal.
Yesterday. So if
But
I
what's
asked him
funny
now,
is
it'd be cheating.
I think I need an audiologist because I heard WIISM
instead of FM. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's any good audiologists on the call
Yeah.
in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, give me a call.
Right. So WIIFM stands for what's in it for me. And so always bringing that message back around to your referring doctors, what's in it for their patients, what's in it for them. So just always remember, whenever you're creating your messaging for referring doctors, that WIIFM, everybody listens to WIIFM. And again, the noise in the marketplace now demands that our customer attention and our successful referral network programs, that we have an easy way to refer patients, and that we're sharing that strategic messaging, that everybody listen to WIIFM, and then investing in that physician liaison training, just so that they are equipped with where to go and what to say, and spending time in the right places with the right people to make your physician referrals more impactful and more effective for your practice. So how do we build a physician referral network? Identify someone in the practice to reach out to the referring and potential referring doctors. And this one is so important, and it is the hardest one to follow. It's very simple. Set a schedule for visiting and communicating with referring doctors. And we assume that this is common sense, but this is the first thing to go. As soon as the clinic gets busy, as soon as the practice gets busy, the first thing that we do is we give up on physician referrals and we stay busy in the practice. And then we wonder why our physician referral program isn't working. And then create opportunities to meet with referring doctors, open house, lunches, and services. And there are now ways to leverage technology actually to schedule some of these appointments to make it a little bit easier. There's certain markets that we're seeing really great success with some of the technology here and ability to do that. And then ensure seamless communication and referral operations and patient experiences. We'll talk just a little bit about that here in the upcoming slides. So, what are doctors looking for in a referral partner? We assume that it's clinical skill. And the thing about clinical skill is that clinical skill is actually expected. And so, yes, clinical skill is important, but it's actually expected from your referring doctors. So, what they're looking for is communication. Who is going to communicate with my patients and who is going to communicate with me in the best and most seamless and easiest fashion? What else are referring doctors looking for in a specialty partner? Not only communication, but access. Patient access. Can you accommodate patients quickly and easily? If it's going to take patients 6 months to get in, then chances are they're probably going to go to the practice down the street where they can get in a couple of weeks. Also, referring doctor access. Do they have easy access to your surgeons or your clinicians or your providers? Can they text you? Can they call you? If they have a patient emergency, if they need to talk to about a patient, can they get a hold of you? That's very, very important. Simplicity. Do you make it easy to refer patients? Do you have a quick, uncomplicated process for access and referrals? And is there timely communication? How are you communicating with referring doctors when and how often? And do they have a relationship with you? And I want to talk about the simplicity here for a second because one of the most popular things right now on referral forms is, and I can't ask Mark now because he's cheating because he knows the answers. He heard them all in the dress rehearsal. So if anybody knows, guess it in the chat. But I will say one of the most popular things to put on a referral form right now is insurance information. And it's always, almost always made a required field. And while that makes it easier for your practice and your team to get the patient scheduled, how do you think that works for the referring doctor? Makes it much harder for the referring doctor to send that patient to you. Big barrier, Karen. Yes. And so I would say do not make insurance information a required field on your referral forms. Have it there, yes, because if they have it and they share it with you, that's great. It makes it so much easier for your teams. But on your referral forms, whether they're online forms or fax forms, the required information should be patient name, patient contact information, reason for referral. There may be a couple of other required information fields, but make your required fields as minimal as possible to make it easy to refer patients. Otherwise, they're going to refer to the provider down the street that does make it easy to refer patients to you. So getting started with your referral network, we're going to talk about the process, the team, and the tools. So, what does that process look like? Before you ever step foot in a referring doctor's office, think about how you're going to identify those patients as referred patients. Do you have a CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management Tool? Are you going to be able to do that in your EMR or your PM systems? So, how are you going to identify that patient as a referred patient and who referred them? Who's going to get them scheduled? How quickly are they going to get scheduled? There's a ton of data on this. If you follow my newsletter, you've seen some of this data, but sitting on referrals for more than an hour can really decrease your getting the patient scheduled and getting them in the door. So who's going to be monitoring those referrals, getting them scheduled? How quickly? How are you going to monitor their progress throughout the patient journey? And how are you going to communicate with the referring doctor through that patient journey? So that's really important to know and understand before you step foot in the referring doctor's office to visit them. So there's a pro tip. I recommend you appoint someone in the office to oversee all things referred patients. And this doesn't mean hiring a whole new staff member. You already have people in the office that are doing all of these steps. So who is that person in the office that's already doing most of these steps, or who is in the office doing some of these steps that has great people skills and customer service skills? That is who I would recommend to kind of oversee this whole process for you in the office. So, the team, we've just been talking about somebody to oversee the internal communications. Some practices like to call that the collaborative care concierge. That's a fancy name. You can also just call it your referral coordinator. So, whatever you want to call it, they are really the backbone of the program because they streamline the referrals. They know what's coming in, they know who's referring them. They know how often, and they can communicate directly with these referring doctors and vice versa. The doctors know if they call Kathy, they can get whatever they need. They can get that patient scheduled quickly and easily. And then you have your physician liaison, and they are the key to unlocking more referrals because your physician liaison is your business development person that actually goes out and talks to and visits your referring doctor's offices. So that's the team. And there's probably already somebody on your team that can fill at least one or both of these roles. And then what are the tools? The most important tools, there's a lot of tools we can use, right? There's always more tools than we could use. Some of them work, some of them don't work. But what are the most important tools to have? Some way to track referrals and monitor and report on those referrals. And there's a good chance this is probably already something that you have, whether it's your EMR, whether it's your PM system. You might already have some sort of CRM. So probably something that you have would already work for this. And then a CRM system, which stands for Customer Relationship Management for Outreach Visits. So, how are you tracking and monitoring your physician referral relationships? Who are you calling on? How often are you calling on them? What are you going to say? What are you saying next time? So, some sort of CRM tool, and there's several good ones out there that we can certainly talk about either in Q&A or offline if you have questions about that. And they're all different price ranges. So, there's some really great ones at all levels. And then an online referral tool. This is just a simple online referral form. You can go to jotform.com and create a HIPAA compliant form yourself pretty simply and easily, but it's just a quick and easy way for them to refer. And here's what we hear all the time. We hear, but they just prefer to fax. Well, if your referring offices have told you they prefer to fax, the reason why they've told you that is because they don't know that there is another way. They don't know that there's an alternative. And I mean, yes, we're going to accept those faxes, right? We're going to accept a referral any way that they come in. But an online referral tool allows them to not only save the trees, but it allows them to refer that patient in 30 seconds or less. They can quickly go to your website, fill out that HIPAA compliant form, hit send, refer the patient in 20 or 30 seconds or less, and it's made it really easy for them to refer that patient. So that's another tool. There's several different ways that you can get these, but I think that jotform.com is a great way to do it. It's a HIPAA compliant form. It's not very expensive, and it's actually something that you can implement today in your practice.
And less pink curly fax paper.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
nice.
And I don't know how many times, just when I'm out in the field that I hear, we didn't receive the fax, we didn't get it. Things get lost in fax outer space. And so I'm not saying things can't get lost in internet outer space as well, but it happens less, way less than fax outer space. So, and then here I'm just going to give you a hack. The super simple way, the number one way to get more physician referrals is really to make more calls on more referring doctors. Are there strategies that we can do it better? Yes. Are there ways we can streamline this process? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the number one way to get more referrals is make more calls on more referring doctors. And sometimes I'll hear, you know what, I went out and called on 10 people today and I got 9 no's. And that is going to happen. Everybody's not going to say yes, and that's okay. Remember back to the beginning when we talked about 5 referring doctors sending 5 patients a month. Doesn't take a lot of referring doctors sending 5 patients. You've just got to get through enough no's to get to those 5 yeses. And so just remember that more no's equals more opportunity for the yes, because you don't need everyone. You just need someone. So that is the number one hack that you can do today is just go out and make more calls on more referring doctors today or tomorrow than you did yesterday. So 5 easy wins for 2026. We've tried to give you a few pearls of wisdom. So number 1, reach out to potential referral partners. If you haven't started, start. If you have started, figure out a way to see a couple more. One of the things that we talk about all the time in the dead heat of summer is if you're seeing 8 doctors a day, try to see one more. Everybody goes home when it's hot. If you stay out when everybody's not there and see that one more, that over a whole month, that's 20 to 30 more visits a month that you made. And so if we're looking for those 5 more doctors, that's a quick and easy way to do that. Also, ask every patient for their reviews and just respond quickly. So just asking for those reviews, quick and easy way to get more reviews.
Yeah. And make sure you keep your your website updated, because those monthly blog posts will make a big difference. They'll show you as an authority. Those frequently asked questions with the answers sprinkled throughout your website are going to be a big help. Make sure you take care of that Google business profile by uploading photos and all those posts, the news, the events that are happening at your practice. And then just think about trying one new AI tool or one new tool that's going to help make life easier for you. That being AI, or it could be online scheduling, or a CRM, or maybe a new CRM that does a better job for you. But just continue to grow. Think about 2026 as a year of growth and trying some new things, because if you try just one of these that you're not currently doing, it's going to make a huge difference for you in 2026. It's definitely going to free up some time for your staff as well.
Yeah, and I will tell you, as a solopreneur, I mean, this can sound completely overwhelming. As a ambitious and busy practice, like updating my, blog post and then all these FAQs and all the things. And so I'll tell you, one of the things, the simple solutions that's really worked for me recently is I will just hop on my phone or hop on Zoom and make a quick, 3 to 5 minute video about a topic I've got a question about, a topic I hear a lot about, a hot topic that's been coming up a lot. And I'll make that quick video, and I can use that video on socials. I can use that video on emails, but I can also pull the transcript of that video. So it's me, it's my brand voice, it's my original content. I am still kicking and screaming with AI. I'll just be honest. Don't think it's a bad thing, but I still want all of my content to be original and come from me. And I'm just OCD about that. So, but what I can do is I can put that transcript into the AI and say, make a couple of, shorter social media posts out of this or whatever. So it's me, it's my content, it's original, but it helps me save time and do some of these things and cover multiple places. I can end up being more places than I could be just trying to do everything by myself from scratch. So just a little pro tip. That's one of the things that's worked for me, in case that helps you in your practices.
And you don't have to do everything today. Maybe today you do a blog post. Tomorrow you do a Google business profile. The next day you do, something else. You can just schedule everything out and just try to hit all these things throughout the month. Ben, we have about 4 or 5 minutes left, Lanissa. We've got time to answer some chat questions. If anyone has a question they want to put into the chat, we'll take a look there and we'll be able to answer your questions right away. And if not, know that you will get a copy of this recording. We'll definitely make sure everybody gets that. And you'll also get a free evaluation of your digital presence right now. And we can at least help you know where you are today. So that way you have a baseline and you say, here's where we are now, and here's where we want to be 6 months from now. So feel free to get the recording and watch it from start to finish again. Make a big thing of popcorn and sit down and enjoy. All right. Well, hey, thanks everyone for being on. We really appreciate it. We look forward to a really successful 2026 for all of you. And, everyone have happy holidays. Crazy time is coming up. So be safe out there and enjoy time with your family and with your staff and with everyone that's in your life. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, I will say, I did just put, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, but you're interested in learning more about physician referral networks and insider tips and tricks, I did just post that in the chat where you can sign up for the newsletter. You can also access my website from that. So if you have any questions, or if you just want to contact me and talk about anything offline, be more than happy to chat with you.
And there's a link to my website, visiclicks.com. So if we can help you in any way, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. Thanks so
Awesome.
much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.